It's September 25th, 2024. I am at Joel Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds. Hey, I'm Grand Slam in here. It's New York time, huh? I've been thinking about that since Monday. Jeremy Lambert's here. He's going to chastise.
You've been thinking about that since Monday, and that's what you did?
That's what I did, huh?
You should have, workshopped that and what do they call those things? Focus grouped that so they could tell you that is a terrible idea.
I focus grouped it to my 2.5-year-old, and he laughed. So that's all the focus group you need.
Well, I'm glad you've called our audience as a bunch of 2.5-year-olds who might laugh at that.
Have you seen the stuff we've been putting out lately?
Yeah, good stuff. Do you want to talk about cookies?
No.
Do you not like cookies?
I don't want to talk about this. No, someone's saying boo this idea. There are other bad ideas. Ryan Lambert's saying he's 6 mentally. See? I get it. Hello. Oh, what a show. It's a Wednesday morning. Hopefully everyone's doing well. If you're not, we hope you feel better. It's a gloomy day here in Toronto, so it'll get nicer, right? That's the way it works. It's the fall. It's all sunny days and warm weather. Maybe not, but maybe it is where you are. Jeremy, how are you doing?
Doing your sunny days comments so I was watching the Vince documentary. I'm 3 episodes into it, and the 3rd episode is about the Montreal screw job, and so Brett is talking, Sean is talking, and they reference sunny days. So that's why it was literally finished the episode right before we went on air, and it's the last bit of the episode. So your sunny days comment just threw me off because Brett was talking about sunny days.
Maybe that's what I was trying to do, Jeremy. Maybe there are layers to this game more than you know.
I don't think there are. I don't think you're trying to make an insinuation that anybody is sleeping with Sunny.
I mean, not now. She's in jail mostly.
Mostly? How are you mostly in jail?
Trust me, the Canadian system could tell you it could be mostly.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, how are you otherwise?
The same old, working, here for the working man.
Yeah, that's it. People saying that they'd rather be watching Busted Open than watching the documentary that you just you talked about. We're going to be talking about that and a whole lot more. MLW new signee Matthew Justice dropped that news on FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the business. Justice is going to join us at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about MLW. We're going to talk about a lot of things. I got a story for him from his time in Greektown Wrestling. I gotta get answers about it. I want to know if him and RJ City have any heat over something. So there's your teaser for a question I'll be asking him at 11:30. Matthew Justice joins us from MLW, and we'll talk about Raw, and we'll talk a little bit about the 2-hour NXT press conference that happened last night. Nothing else really happened on NXT. It was just a 2-hour presser. Are they making fun of us?
I mean, come on now. Stephanie Vaquer debuted via video.
Via satellite.
Yeah, that's still a debut.
I mean, technically she debuted at that Mexico City house show for WWE. At least that was a wrestling match.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if we're going to work semantics into this, yes, Stephanie Vaquer showed up at the end of the night. Byron Saxton made sure to remind us that, yes, she showed up. You didn't see that, did you? You didn't see the clip?
The clip?
Byron. So when they air the clip on the big screen, they have Saxton. They cut away very quickly. Saxton's knocking on the tables for both Julia and Roxanne to get their attention so that they stand up and acknowledge that this is happening to make it a moment. It was very funny.
Oh.
But if you watch back, you see Byron knocking on the tables to get their attention to go and do it. But yeah, Stephanie Vaquer shows up. She basically inserts herself into the title picture when she does show up in NXT. Could be as early as next week. It all depends on her visa status and whether or not they're going to just push her right into it, or if they're going to wait until Halloween Havoc at the end of October, maybe get her into that point. Either way, it's a good way to remind people that she's coming. She has been mentioned before. She has had a match on WWE on a house show. And instead, NXT had a 2-hour press conference. That was the crux of the story. 2 hours of press conference. Could you sit there for 2 hours?
I do every AEW show, so yeah.
That's true. But would you asking Trick Williams how it feels to be him? Asking All Ego Ethan Page if he's ready for that title match?
Yeah.
asking Julia questions that sometimes she answers in English and sometimes answers in Japanese. And then Funaki calls himself the women's champion. It was very funny stuff. I loved it. Good old Funaki. Love him. Anyway, that was NXT talk. Glad we got through that early. Listen, before you do this, why don't you leave a thumbs up on the video? If you haven't yet, what's wrong with you? If you already have, thank you. If you want to do it again, don't, because then it'll take out the other thumbs up and you got to press it again. Just leave a thumbs up on the video. The fireworks are for you when you leave that thumbs up. And of course, you can subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbooked, youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked. And if you want, you can go ahead. You can donate a super chat. A super chat means any question or statement gets read on the air for sure, like Matthew Hooks, who's already asking a question saying who should be the open challenge for Jack Perry, because tonight he has issued an open challenge for the TNT Championship. Matthew's saying, what about Daniel Garcia? Jeremy Lambert, who do you think it should be? This is Collision, though, right?
Yeah, it's for Collision, but it's obviously going to be taped.
I mean, if you ask AEW, everything is tonight, and you don't know when it'll air. Mystery Vortex at this point.
What if it's Timecock?
I've been waiting, baby. Listen, everyone's going to be there. Everyone that we know in the industry are going to be there. Could be Timecock. That's who I would love it to be. I think it should be Timecock.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get I don't know who's gonna we still need to find out, like, who really is this Timecock. We don't know much about them. Will they be in attendance at Grand Slam? Could it be Holly? Could it be the winner of the trios?
Lucha Libre? Also on Collision.
Is that also on Collision?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, what match isn't on Collision? Don't ask. We'll preview Mystery Vortex Grand Slam soon enough. But
I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be any like huge surprise. People saying Daniel Garcia, Ricky Starks, because Ricky posted that he's ready to wrestle. I don't feel like it's gonna be any of them, because that feels like if you're gonna do that, you should do it for the live show. Feels like if you're gonna do something like that. Nick Wayne. Nah, he's a heel, though. That doesn't make any sense.
But he won that 4-way and he's going for gold.
Yeah.
Who's a babyface with gold other than Ospreay? You know, and Danielson. I'm talking like a babyface who would really give Nick Wayne a run for his money. There really isn't, and who's a champion right now. Jack Perry's the only one who would do it, and Jack Perry still gets cheered in some markets. You think he should just drive the bus right up to the ring?
I've seen people say Homicide, which would pop the crowd, but they've done a Homicide spot in New York, so it's not like this would be a thing for him to do just because it's New York. They've already done a Homicide spot for New York and for Grand Slam. Guevara's facing Okada.
Yep.
Oh, man, it's going to be like Dustin Rhodes now that I think about it.
Dustin Rhodes going for another title.
Even though they've already done Jack Perry and Dustin, they did. That was like Jack Perry's like first TNT title defense, I think.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be Roosh.
Roosh is a heel.
So what? It never stopped anybody.
I can't do that.
Scorpio Sky.
Scorpio Sky. No, he's gonna align with Jack Perry. He's gonna come out with. He's gonna be like, "You see Jack Perry's hair? This man was bald before he got on the Scorpio system.
Look how lush and full it is. You've all loved it for so long."
Ishii. No, he's in Japan.
It should be Bozilla, but she's going to join Damage Control.
I don't know how close Hobbs is. I've seen people say Hobbs.
Wardlow?
I don't know how close Hobbs is. If it's Wardlow, here's the thing. If you're talking about Wardlow, if you're talking about Hobbs, are you going to beat these guys? Because I'm not convinced Jack Perry's losing this title. So are you willing to beat Hobbs or Wardlow? I don't feel like you should.
Is Ortiz injured? I feel like
he's been injured. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's a little bit closer. Ortiz is a fine shout, actually.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking up and down the roster, and if we're picking someone that's kind of set your expectations as such, Brian Cage Could be.
He's a heel.
I don't think that really matters to them. I really don't think they care. I don't think they care. It's Adam Copeland. He's coming back on Collision.
Shane McMahon. What if it's Shane McMahon?
He's going to close Dynamite standing in the ring, and he's going to open Collision by accepting the challenge. He's like, I'm not leaving this ring until I accept the TNT Championship match between Jack Perry and myself. Winner gets the bus. And then someone whispers in his ear, you also get the TNT title. Winner gets the bus. And then he wins the match. He doesn't take the title. He just takes the bus. Gets Anna Jay too. It's just the way it works. I assume she's living in the bus with her partner. One is fair to assume that.
No, don't say that. That doesn't sound good.
What? People live in buses all the time.
But you don't get Anna Jay as well.
Well, she just happens to be in the bus as he drives off.
That's kidnapping. Stop it.
It's only kidnapping if it's out of wrestling.
No, knock it off.
I can't knock it off. I'm not good at knocking it off.
Lance Archer. I don't
it's
know
not Battle of the Belts. It's Collision. It's not Battle of the Belts. Can't do it. I'm sorry. Some say Mexico. They're not in Texas. I don't know. It could be Action Andretti.
Why?
Because he's upset. He's mad as hell, and he's not going to take it anymore. He's a big old loser.
That would be disappointing.
Well, we're not exactly pitching people that we think are going to be bombshells, considering it's going to be on Collision on Saturday, and it's already going to be taped.
Yeah. Imagine if it is Action Andretti, though. What a way to just... No offense to Action Andretti, but like you're on TV complaining about losing all the time. So you coming out here and losing isn't exactly going to light the world on fire.
No, but it's going to get his other top flight friends being like, see, one of us.
Leo Rush. What is Leo Rush? Another loser.
Leo Rush. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley completely decimates Jack Perry, wins the title first night in, tape show. Let's go.
I don't feel like that's the spot for Bobby Lashley. Oh, Shark Boy would rule.
Give me Shell, yeah.
Hell yeah.
He believes in CTE. They did do Leo Rush. That is a good point.
Had they done Leo Rush and Jack Perry?
Yeah, it was a really good match too, and people were like, "Oh, that was very good. Why didn't?"
Well, run it back.
Run it back. Leo didn't win, but this is his time.
Oh, it was on Dynamite in Lexington. Oh, wow, it was only like a week ago. My memory's god awful. Just terrible.
Again, I'm never creepy ever. This is the first time you've ever alleged this thing. Will Chisholm saying it's Stephanie Baker versus Jack Perry. I said on Twitter it should be Dr. Britt Baker DMD. Telling you, man, that's the title she's gonna get.
It should just be Leo Rush again, honestly. I almost had you in that 8-minute match we had. Let's
run it back.
Maybe it went longer than 8 minutes. I don't know. I just assume 8 minutes sounds about right for that match.
Yeah, it should be Ricochet.
Why? Ricochet, he can't lose though. Like I don't think Perry's losing. So it's got to be somebody Perry can beat.
Action Andretti. And we're back.
Might be Action Andretti.
Oh, this is a good idea. Mark Briscoe. He is still the champ, but the conglomeration
Allegedly.
have a match on Collision anyway. They have the triple the trios match. Yeah. 6-man tag against the Learning Tree.
If it's Billy Gunn, then Billy's going to go into business for himself and beat him.
Yeah, we got a new TNT champion if it's Billy Gunn.
You can't put Billy Gunn in there with Jack Perry. That's bad news for Jack Perry.
The size discrepancy alone is like a good foot. It's amazing how tall and big Billy Gunn is. When you look at him in '99, he really was in the land of the giants because he was a shorter guy considered in WWE in '99. And now you look at him and he's like one of the biggest dudes in the roster. It's kind of crazy.
Who are you thinking here, Henry? Who are you throwing out there that I don't know about a draw?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of those lately.
Yeah, I don't know.
David Zaslav. It's Jack Perry versus David Zaslav. The winner gets to make the deal, the AEW television deal.
Well, that would rule actually if he just like beats up David Zaslav and is like, "One Bill Phil, huh? That's who your hero is." I ran him out of this company. That'll draw, right?
Yeah,
People
the winner
love
gets
that
one
stuff.
bill. It should be Shane. I'm telling y'all. It should be Shane. Shane finishes off Dynamite and he says, "Give me that TNT title match. I'm already here. I'm ready to go. The money is strong." Yeah, that everyone else kind of just tossing out names. Jay White, I don't think he's cleared yet, but if he is,
He's a
again,
heel.
does he have to be?
Stop throwing these heels out there who like are probably gonna lose.
Is Leo Rush a heel or is he a baby face?
No, he's just a loser.
There are a lot of those.
Yeah.
Again, I remind everybody that this is for Collision, not for Dynamite. So this will be a taped Collision. The name is going to get out there. So given everything else that's on the card for Collision, including a Hangman match, like a lumberjack Hangman Adam Page versus Jeff Jarrett match. Given a lot of the Saraya match, for better or worse, it's still Saraya. Like there's still something there. There's a story there, and it's Jamie Hayter too. Like there's enough star power on Saturday that people are probably going to watch, but I don't think this big return is going to be a big return or a big debut. I think it's just going to be someone.
Maybe it's Jason Priestley.
That should be, yeah. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. Jack Khan versus Jack Perry. Let's go. Let's book that. Ryan Lambert saying, fine with that. It's a tape show, so John Cena. Marco Stunt. That would be fun. There's a story there. Bring that back.
Someone saying guys have to lose, more wrestlers need to accept that. I understand guys need to lose, but I don't think you should be beating someone like Wardlow or Hobbs or Jay White in their big return match. That just doesn't seem, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. If you want them to win the title, cool. But then, man, if that's the end of Jack Perry's run, it's like, ooh, what did we really do with this title? He beat Darby in a coffin match, but Darby got elevated off of that. Jack just went on to lose to Danielson and then defend the title against random people before losing it. This became a...
You can stop right there. It's Darby's going to do it. It's Darby. What Darby got? Why wouldn't it be Darby? He loses his world title shot at Grand Slam Dynamite.
Looking Darby, so maybe.
And they turn around and they just give him the TNT title. That's something they would do. They've done it before. Blood and Guts got the TNT title match at All In. That's how they won the match. That's how they got part of the surrender deal. And then he turned around. They did the Royal Rampage literally right after that. And who got the AEW world title shot that he's now putting on the line at Grand Slam? Darby Allin. They're just going to turn around and give it to Darby. He's going to answer the call right away.
I actually think that Jack Perry could beat Wardlow, and I'd be okay with it. That the bloom's off the rose with Wardlow, right? Like they've missed the boat too many times with him.
I don't necessarily agree, because I think that anyone with the right writing could be heated up. Jack Perry is not a story that should be where it is right now, but he's become that person. Doing the scapegoat stuff, going to New Japan, like he wasn't much before. Like as a heel, I'm saying he wasn't much before, and then the scapegoat stuff, the CM Punk stuff, that lent him so much more than he was getting. You can do that with Wardlow with the right story.
Do what with Wardlow?
You can build him up. You can make him a bigger deal again. I understand that there's been a lot of stop and start, but like there are wrestlers who have had stops and starts, and eventually one thing catches on, and next thing you know, they're on top, or they're winning titles, or they're encapsulating the audience. Jeff Jarrett was not someone anyone gave a shit about until fairly recently. Again, people were get him off my screen. This is stupid. LOL. Meme. Jarrett.
Those people were wrong, though.
Yes, but unfortunately, those people also have a pretty sizable voice when it comes to how they feel about pro wrestling.
Yeah, those people were wrong.
Hey, listen, you never get an argument out of me. I like Jeff Jarrett. I always have liked Jeff Jarrett. Except for that one time in WCW in 2000.
Like, yeah, you can heat up Wardlow. Anybody can be heated up. It just feels like we've missed the boat with him. And I don't like, what does winning the TNT title do for him? He's held that title.
He has. That's true.
it doesn't feel like that's. So this was a discussion. Not really a discussion because I tweeted it and I don't care to discuss with stuff on Twitter.
So this
But
is just one-sided argument.
yeah. No, it wasn't a one-sided argument, but it became a discussion yesterday of AEW and stories and blah 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 because Jey Uso, shout out to Jey Uso, glad he won the title. That people went excited and went crazy for that and everything's like, AEW can't do this, they can't tell these stories. There's stories in AEW. Like all these matches have a story. All these matches for Dynamite Grand Slam and Collision Grand Slam, they have a story. Whether you like the story or not is your personal preference, but you can't tell me there's not a story to these matches. And that's the real discussion to be had is, are the stories connecting? Are the characters connecting? And Mark Quill replied of like, oh, Swerve and Hangman, it was like really good, but then there's stuff like the Jericho Vortex that's a slog. I replied to him and I said, the stuff that hits really hits, Swerve and Hangman being an example of that. But then the misses make it feel like a larger disconnect. And I think my biggest point is a lot of times in AEW, there's no upward momentum. Guys just move sideways. And I think that's an issue with the company right now that I hope gets corrected in some way. Guys need to start actually moving up and actually getting elevated off of stuff. Jack Perry's an example of that. He's got the TNT title, but does it feel like he's been elevated to a new level with this stuff? Like he felt way more over when he just got brought back and was part of the Elite because the Elite felt way more over. And then he won the TNT title. He's just defended it in a bunch of open challenges, which literally every single TNT champion has done. And it hasn't felt different from any of that. It just feels like, okay, cool. He's beaten Christopher Daniels. Great. Like he got a world title shot, but people weren't very happy that he got that world title shot. And then he's done nothing since then. And he's just defended the title against Leo Rush and Christopher Daniels. Cool. Why shouldn't Jack Perry, coming off the scapegoat stuff, shouldn't he feel like a little bit of a bigger deal? Shouldn't he feel like he actually got elevated to something? I've said this with Orange Cassidy for a while now. I don't feel like Orange Cassidy has been elevated to where he actually should be based on his history in the company. Too many guys just feel like they go sideways. People saying Ospreay, go ahead.
Ospreay came in with fanfare. Ospreay came in with expectation. Ospreay came in already at the top of New Japan Pro Wrestling. It was almost expected. See what you're saying with Orange Cassidy before anyone jumps down your throat. He should be more of a perennial world championship challenger, but he is not presented as such. So I'll let you continue now.
When it comes to Ospreay, like he got elevated when he came into the world title feud, and then the international title stuff was good. But like now he's in this tag team with Kyle Fletcher and they're going after the tag team titles. Like that doesn't feel like an upward elevation for Ospreay. Too many guys just feel like they go sideways instead of going up in the company. Orange Cassidy, he said it himself. So this is not my words here. This is Orange Cassidy. Okay. He said the conglomeration was a bunch of guys who got kind of lost in the mid-card shuffle and they put them together. Those are his words. He said lost in the shuffle in the mid-card, and so they got put together. And that's what it feels like. It feels like just a group of, I mean, that's why they're called the conglomeration. I get it. But it doesn't feel like they're moving up as a group. It just feels like they're having matches to do matches. And he's facing Jericho. Again, there's story to this. I'm not saying there's not story. I'm not saying there's not story. There is. But it doesn't feel like guys get elevated out of this. What happened with Hook? Hook beat Chris Jericho, right? He beat Chris Jericho, retained the FTW title, moved on. Where'd he go? A feud with Roderick Strong, who has been presented as just kind of nobody. And that's what he's gone into. he didn't go up after beating Chris Jericho. He may have gone down. At best, he went sideways. There's so many people that just feel like they go sideways in the company instead of going up. And I think that's something that AEW's gotta figure out.
Now, do you believe that part of this is due to the way that their titles are structured, in that at any given time, a title that is not the world title can be considered the next title up, to the point where it's almost diminished and it doesn't mean as much? The international championship for the last little while has been considered number 2. And now you've got the Continental title and the TNT title, and those are two titles that kind of, are they mid card? Are they lower mid card? Are they both? Are they neither? Do they matter? Do they not matter? And if the wrestlers aren't going for those titles specifically and making it known that these are the titles that they want, is that adding to this whole middling conversation? And I don't mean middling, I mean like middling of talent in the conversation we're having.
I think establishing a strong hierarchy with the titles would be a good start. I think it would, because right now the international title feels like the top second title. The problem with the international title is the champion is now in a tag team and going after the tag team titles. So there's no real international title feud. It's Ricochet. I know Ricochet and Ospreay are facing next week. And then who wins, we shall see out of that. The TNT title has kind of been devalued with just too many open challenges. And the TNT champion going after the world champion, which is fine, but then you beat your TNT champion. And now the TNT title is just, hey, here's an open challenge against Christopher Daniels. Like, there's no real strong feud for the TNT champion. I also think they haven't fully, I've been on this boat for a year, so nobody can tell me that like this is a new complaint from me. I don't think they've done a great job establishing real top tier baby faces and top tier feuds. I know the shades of gray stuff and different characters that have different motivations. It works in some regards. Hangman and Swerve, great example of that. It works. But when everybody is doing it, it devalues it. And then too many people get lost. I think that was a big issue with the Blackpool Combat Club for years. Now we know where they stand. And now it established them as top tier heels. And by doing that, you've now established Darby as a top tier babyface, which is good. That feels like a hot feud. It's a little disjointed because of Darby's like, oh yeah, I'm going to just give up my title shot to Nigel to do this match against Moxley and everything. But that feels like a hot feud to me. That feels like a hot program. But the rest of these guys, they've been so disjointed of where they stand. Ospreay is a top babyface. He gets the biggest reactions. The crowd is into him. But then you have him doing stuff like feuding with Swerve when he was the top babyface. And so I don't think that fully helped Ospreay in establishing him as that guy. It elevated the feud. But now Ospreay's aligned with Fletcher, who's aligned with Don Callis, who's a heel, who's aligned with Takeshita, who's kind of a heel. But they're trying to babyface him against Okada, who's a heel. Like, it's just the shades of gray stuff gets mixed too much. Sometimes you need that clear-cut divide when you've been doing shades of gray too much. And I think the middle has been lost in that. And I think there's just too many people who just don't want to go full bore and be despicable heels. And that's been my complaint about the Elite, is they want to do too much wink and nod stuff. Jericho's gotten a little on track with it, but too many guys just want to do the wink and nod stuff and not really get heat. They want to get this is awesome chance. And that doesn't serve anybody.
Do you think that the Young Bucks arrive with a 7-car cavalcade tonight at Grand Slam?
They should.
Call themselves the Buck Line.
See, this is why Christian is great, by the way. The problem with Christian is he's not being paired against any great baby face. Who's Christian facing? Kip Sabian? We love Kip Sabian. He's great, but like, he ain't gonna get elevated out of this. He's getting just matches on like Rampage and stuff. They're not doing anything with Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne's just getting 4-way matches on Rampage. Cool. you need to actually pair Christian with a babyface. Orange Cassidy and Christian, that's a feud that can elevate people. If you don't want to elevate Orange Cassidy because you feel like he's good where he's at, fine. Find somebody else to elevate out of this. I'd say Mark Briscoe, but I don't want people to get weird about death on that. But if you want to find somebody, a babyface to get behind, if you want to find somebody, Christian's a great guy to do that with, but they don't do it. Instead, they're just telling this story with Kill Switch that they won't do the turn, but they might do the turn, but then they won't do the turn. They did the trio stuff with Christian. Who came out of that well? Pac, Claudio, and Yuta. What led? What happened there? They turned him heel. And then they're doing stuff with Yuta. I hope Yuta gets elevated out of this. This is a great chance for Yuta to get elevated into a new spot. But look how long Yuta stayed in one spot.
There's a lot of wait and see that seems to be going on as well. And this is happening across WWE and AEW as well, right? The KO stuff is another example of just like waiting for the shoe to drop when it comes to KO. Grabs a chair, waits on it, doesn't do anything. We have to wait till next week and then the next week. And this could play out all the way till War Games, till Survivor Series. And then with the Christian stuff, people are pointing out in the chat, he has the cash in. He has the world title shot. He can cash in at any time. He's called himself next AEW world champion. And yeah, until then, he should be doing something to continue to elevate himself, because the way that he got that title shot was through the Casino Gauntlet match, which you did have to win the match. You did have to pin somebody. It is a little more than an over the top rope battle royal type of thing where all you did was throw people over the top rope or get lucky. You actually scored a pinfall, but you should be continuing to capitalize over this. Now, for all we know, we're going to find out Christian is working hurt, which would be awful. And that would be, that would explain why he hasn't been having any matches, but he is certainly someone that should
be then elevate working. Nick Wayne.
Well, that's kind of what I think they're trying to move with next. But the issue becomes they're doing it while they're also trying to tell this convoluted Luchasaurus story where every other week it feels like he's about to turn on his team, and then he doesn't. And then we're just back to square one. And then Kip walks in and it's like, oh, fuck that guy. He doesn't matter. You're right. There should be something more with Kip, and if they're going to elevate Kip, then they should be working. They should be working Nick Wayne and Kip more into this.
I don't think they're trying to elevate Kip. I think Kip is just a guy they're using because he's available and they can beat him.
And they're also rewarding loyalty to Kip.
Sure.
By giving him the TV time. And that this is kind of just the point, is that he's not being factored in as a big star. He's being factored in as like, okay, thank you for doing 5 years with us, and not, saying negative things about the company throughout the time. Here's a reward. We're going to do a storyline. Who knows where that goes? And that only goes so far. But Nick Wayne should be coming out of this bigger and better as well. And I think you're right. Winning a 4-way match every once in a while is not strong enough. But I'm also waiting for that next point, that next build for Nick Wayne. Don't just win a 4-way. Give him more to work with.
Nick Wayne and Killswitch should have been more established as a tag team. That should have been a thing. Maybe they get to it. Christian does the "I'm proud of Nick Wayne, I don't care about Killswitch" thing. And it hasn't led to anything. They won the trios titles. And then they lost them to a team that almost immediately turned on each other, and a team that just really got thrown together. Now, they made some sense out of it by doing the turn, but they were still just thrown together. And they didn't fully explain why not necessarily why Pac joined up with them, but why they decided they can trust Pac after what he did a year ago.
I'm just thinking about who benefits from a lot of this stuff. I don't know. This is an ongoing conversation you and I seem to have about what can make AEW's story stronger. What can make their talent perceived as stronger. You and I are not people who sit here and be like, where's the story? Because no, we understand where there are stories in the AEW world. It's more just where things are going. how things are moving and what works and what doesn't.
Hilarious of who was mentioned in who I talked to this morning.
Amazing. Mystery Vortex is tonight. Sorry, it's Grand Slam. We'll preview that a little bit later. Matthew Justice is going to join us in a little under an hour, talk about MLW and a whole lot more. Let's talk about Raw real quick, and then we can talk about the McMahon documentary as much as we've seen and what we've been seeing from various accounts and reviews. But let's talk about Raw real quick. The Shark Cage. I don't care about the Intercontinental Champion. I don't care right now. We have to talk about this because this is very important. Jeremy Lambert, somebody from WWE Creative, is watching this stupid show.
That's unfortunate.
Very much so unfortunate. And Dominic Mysterio is being hung above the ring, or maybe he's just going to sit at the ringside in a shark cage while Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan fight for the Women's World Championship. What did we do to deserve this?
I mean, you wanted this.
I
This
did,
is what
and
you
I'm very
asked for.
happy.
This is all your fault.
Sis, you're welcome and I'm sorry takes a whole new meaning today. Very proud of myself.
Yeah. I still think they should have had him up there like a pinata. I think that would have been much funnier. But
Just
this
hanging
is
from
fine.
the harness.
Yeah, hanging from the harness, and he's eating the chicken tenders. I hope he's got the chicken tenders. You know, Wendy's is sponsoring. They got the spicy nugs, so he's gotta be eating the spicy nugs.
These ones are too spicy. It's too spicy.
He's throwing the nugs at Rhea during the match to try to distract her.
It's a desert island snack. you got one thing. What do you want? Spicy nuggies, please. Yeah, just throwing them at Rhea, but always hitting Liv. Stop it! Stop it! Yeah, this happened at the top of Raw, and what was even funnier than that was actually how this all started, which was the lowrider. And there's three things that happen. So they make the entrance to Dom and Liv in the lowrider. They're doing the setup for Raw. They get out of the car and they walk past a table. I'm sure you saw this table. What was different about this particular table compared to any other table that's set up in the backstage area where wrestlers and staff walk around?
Well, Bronson and Braun went through it.
It's a merch table, Jeremy.
Yeah, it was a merch table.
Why is there a merch table at the back entrance for talent and staff set up as if you're going to sell that merchandise?
Well, Earl Hebner's back in the company, so, you know.
The TNA partnership really brought back everybody, didn't it? This is just one thing that I noticed, and I saw a couple of people catch on. I was just like, why is there a merch table in the back? That's very strange. The wrestlers now, it's tight purse strings. Tight purse strings. The wrestlers have to buy the shirts of the wrestlers so that they can go and wear them out to the ring. CM Punk wears a Jade Cargill shirt on NXT. He bought it from that particular merch stand. I get it. Anyway, I wanted something out of that, but yeah. And then afterwards, the lowrider was also sold as a toy, which we've seen a million times before. Braun Strowman takes apart a car going into WrestleMania 35. Remember that? It was the Colin Jost and Michael Chase. Yeah, and then what do? Boom! Mattel presents Braun Strowman car to take off. And he could take apart the car just like Braun Strowman did it with an ambulance. I think at one point where he took everything off of the ambulance. Yeah, good times. And then other than that, you've got the monster match next week.
That was a cool video that they
cool.
put together.
I do like that.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I'm very excited for this match. I'm very excited to watch Braun Strowman and
another
Bronson Reed.
last man standing. It's gonna be good. Like this, at least last man standing makes sense. They've built it up really well with everything they've done. But it's like you just did this with Trick and Pete Dunne on NXT television. Like you gotta figure out. Like don't go to the well too many times. Trick and Pete Dunne didn't need it. You didn't need to do last man standing for that, especially if you had an idea to do last man standing for Braun and Bronson. I don't like the match anyway. It's not my cup of tea. They can be good, but I was just think it's too much of laying around. Okay, what are you gonna do? Somebody gets up at the last second type of thing. And yeah, just doing this on NXT a couple weeks ago, now doing it here, it makes sense for this match, but then don't do it with Trick and Pete.
Should it be a Texas death match?
No, I don't know. You can really do that.
Well, they're in Evansville, Indiana next week, an Indiana death match. But the TNA version of the Texas death match is the old school presentation. You got to get the pinfall and then you get the 10 count. Maybe that's the way they should be doing it.
I like that. It should do it should do cinematic style. That actually rule.
Yeah, I'd be down with that. Give them the cinematic aspect ratio, just like Roman and Cody as well.
Yeah.
Make it real weird. I'm sure stuff will explode. I'm sure it'll be just a big old spot fest of just stuff getting busted up and broken down. And I love that. I'm fine with that. But I agree with you. Doing last man standing, like, it makes sense for the story, but it's a little anticlimactic to do the 10 count and have to stand there while one wrestler sells it and tries to pull himself up and then counts 1 through 10 and that's it. Maybe they should get special guest referee Tyrese Halliburton for this match.
Oh, that would be great.
He's the only guy who can solve this shit. Whenever stuff goes down, they got to bring in Tyrese. He's the guy.
Then Jalen Brunson attacks him. That would rule.
Could you imagine that tag match? Who's represented who? Who's teaming with Strowman? Who's teaming with Reed?
Bronson. It depends on where the match is.
It ain't gonna be in Australia, so there you go.
Yeah, because Halliburton was the heel, but then he babyfaced himself with Trick, but he also healed himself by making fun of the Magic. I think Halliburton's more the heel, so he's got to go with Bronson. And Jalen Brunson goes with Braun.
Brunson and Bronson would be a fun tag name, though.
Yeah, true.
It's like Diamond and Diamond.
Oh, they should 100% do the monster trucks. Come on now. That's shit right there.
Yes, it's the monsters among men. The monster trucks among men. Oh, it's going to be fun stuff.
Yeah.
And then Drew cut a promo basically reiterating everything that CM Punk said leading into their Hell in a Cell match. The reporting from Fightful Select was that, as you and I have talked about, the tag match is considered the main event, but the Hell in a Cell match is now in talks to also potentially take the main event. If you listen to other reports that are coming out now, that there's a talk of some of the discourse being taken into consideration. I think they're still going to end with the tag match and just make you feel like you had a chance.
They should just run them both at the same time.
Concurrently, we have 2 rings tonight. One, because we've decided to run both main events at the same time. Do it Taboo Tuesday style. Make the people vote on it on WWE.com.
Oh, that would start a lot of discourse if you did a fan vote for this.
Listen, that is the most harmless fan vote you could do.
Cody and Roman would win that.
Yeah, they would. And I think that would prove the point.
Cody,
a lot of people.
I don't know if it would prove the point, but Cody's just super online. Punk's not on Twitter. He's online, but he's not on Twitter,
Drew online.
What?
Drew is incredibly online.
Yeah, but Drew, does the character online stuff. So Drew isn't going to be like pandering for votes. That's not him. Cody, he's a politician. He's gonna, he's gonna kiss the babies. He's gonna be like, do giveaways and everything.
Hashtag do it for Pharaoh.
Yeah. So yeah, Cody would win that. Cody would win that vote.
Just Cody. Roman Reigns would be like, I don't care. Go to Cody's page. He cares. Someone asking, was Taboo Tuesday legit or a work? It was maintained for years that it was legitimate, and that was something that supposedly Vince was like adamant about, that it had to be of all things, this had to be on the level, because he truly believed in the democratic process. That was the story for years and years. I'm willing to bet that it was legitimate. I don't think they were doing a really good job of just swaying the vote.
Yeah.
They knew storyline wise, like where to get the fans to vote. And again, people like Jeremy and I and the chat, we love our chat and we love our conversations, but we are not the larger WWE fan who's not watching extra content like this they were the ones voting for the stuff. WWE was like, don't you want to see a steel cage match between these two people? Or do you want to see a boring singles match between these two people? Like, what do you want to see? And they let you, for sure.
I think the voting was legit, though. Everybody maintained that it was, but like you said, they pushed people to a certain direction, and most of the time that was the outcome. The famous one was when Shelton Benjamin won, and they put the title on him, the Intercontinental title. Like that's the famous story.
Yeah, Jericho was very confused by that, right?
Yeah.
But wasn't the story that he was like taking a babyface move from everyone at that point because it messed up the way that the match was supposed to be structured? Because one was it was something he tells the story. It's very funny about him going around just being like, oh, you give me a move, you give me a move, and it was a whole thing. Christian has also told a similar story where he was like, when I went babyface, I had to go to everyone in the locker room that I've been taking their moves from and say, give me one of your moves, give me one of your moves, because the babyface would be the one doing the moves and the heel would have to take the moves. So he was like going to everyone who beat him over years and be like, give me one of your signature moves, I'm taking it. One of your signature moves, I'm taking it. And that was his way to get back as a babyface. That shit was always fun. That's the old school mentality of wrestling that sometimes makes me laugh. And in the main event, you want old school main event, Jey Uso captures the Intercontinental Championship. Thank you. He defeats Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker's buried. It's over. The discourse is true. Braun Breaker is just completely, he's exposed. He's useless. He's buried. Main event, Jey Uso finally wins a singles title, first time in 14 years. Good for him. What are we going to do with that big old loser Braun Breaker, huh?
Now, this was great.
It was.
Like I didn't think they would do it. I figured Braun would continue kind of a reign here, but I'm glad they did because they struck. They struck while Jey Uso was hot and good. They should do that. Jey Uso is one of the top guys in the company when it comes to reactions, when it comes to merchandise. You can think what you want about him. You can spam and super kicks. All he does is yeet, whatever. Reactions don't lie. All right. The online discourse, the online discussion of like, oh, Jey isn't that great. I don't get him. You don't need to get him. Listen to those crowds. Every building they go to, they get him. He gets the reactions. So, Steven Jensen famously or infamously, I don't know, however you want to do it, or not that famously, because we're not that famous. He was like, I don't get LA Knight. All right. He admitted that, like, but clearly the crowd gets him. Clearly the crowd is behind him. Same thing with Jey. If you don't get him, fine. Maybe he's not for you, not sure, but who does get him is every audience, every building they go to. So, and that's what matters. The connection out there. And they struck, which is good because, sometimes they don't. I think they missed the boat with an Otis kind of push when it came to American Made. I think they missed that. But they didn't miss with Jey on this one. Now we'll see what the reign looks like. I imagine they'll do a Braun Breaker rematch, and we'll see what the overall reign looks like and how it plays in potentially to the Bloodline storyline as we move towards War Games.
The story with the capture of the Intercontinental Championship from Braun was he lost to Sammy and then he vowed to learn from that and he won the title based on that. You could do that again where he lost the title and now he's going to go back and win it because he learned what made Jey so special in that moment, what got him over. But if what got him over in the match I'm talking about was the crowd, how do you learn that? I could see Braun Breaker losing his second time. Maybe this is en route to Braun Breaker maybe starting a babyface turn. I think it's a little early. It's a little early, but like they're definitely testing that. They've been testing that. The stupid, do I have any dogs in City X? Like that's a babyface promo start.
Yeah, they need strong heels though.
They do. Maybe that's where the Otis thing comes in. I know we just talked about dropping the ball on Otis. Is Otis as a monster heel? I guess we already have that. Yeah, you know what? I was just trying to make Otis a thing again because they clearly have
Yeah,
Drop them
they
all.
don't see him in that way, which is fine. Like it's fine if they don't see guys in that way. It's not fine if the crowd does see them in a certain way and they miss on them. And that's what happened with Otis. Because if they don't see Otis as anything more than comedy character B, fine. That's where they've slotted him. But the crowd saw him as something more when he was turning on Gable, and they missed. They didn't do a big blow off match. They didn't even do a big they did a shove. That was it. And it was like, oh, okay. But they didn't go further with that. It didn't feel like Otis really got his revenge on Gable. It didn't feel like they really had a proper blow off to that. So they missed on that. Now, you don't turn Braun babyface because they're good on baby faces. Like they are really strong on the babyface side. They need some top tier heels. They got Gunther right now. Gunther's doing good work. After that, it's Judgment Day, but most of those guys are kind of treated like secondary characters. Balor is trying to work to reestablish himself. And then who else are you doing on the heel side? Like they're doing Ray and Xavier Woods next week. Like those are two kind of top baby faces going
So
after each other. The story's there. I get that the story is there with them. And maybe it does lead to kind of a New Day heel turn or at least an Xavier heel turn, but you need some top tier heels right now.
well, you got Drew as well. Don't forget.
Yes, Drew. He's just been so caught up in the Punk stuff for so
Yeah.
long that
The assumption is after next weekend, we won't be. He'll be kind of put back into the main attraction of things. You mentioned Xavier Woods. I don't think we're going to see a heel turn. I think you're going to see Woods annoyed or upset with the fact that his other New Day brothers have won singles championships while in New Day, specifically WWE championships. Like they've been at the top of the mountain, whereas Woods has never been the top single star. His best was what? Winning the sham of a King of a Ring that one year. And what happens next? Roman Reigns stomps on the title. Well, how do you get back at the person who stomped on your title? You don't go after Roman, but maybe you go after the guy who you once had a big feud with as a tag team, and that's Jey Uso. If you noticed, the Woods and Ray confrontation came leading into the Jey Uso match, came leading into the main event. Feels like maybe they'll do Woods and Jay. And I like that. And then there's a story there because eventually Jimmy's going to have to come back. And then you've got Woods, Jimmy, Jay. Kofi is going to factor in somehow. I'm not saying go back to Usos and New Day, but I think there's a layer to that story with the history that plays into the singles aspect of it. Maybe it is Jimmy comes back and Jay's like, I don't want you, man. And Woods is there and telling Kofi, I don't want you, man. And they kind of flip sides of support, not to tag against each other, but just to support each other for a little bit. And eventually Woods maybe sees his way, or maybe he does turn heel. Maybe he does end up, winning the Intercontinental Championship by nefarious means. But that's not for a while, because it feels to me like the Intercontinental Championship around Jey Uso's waist is that it's going to War Games, and that it's going to main event Jey Uso proving that he could do it on his own, and going up to when Roman Reigns inevitably approaches him and saying, I got this. I did this. Not you. I did this while you were gone. You were nowhere to be found. I did this. And that kind of works into the story of Jay and Roman's presumed reconciliation. So there's something in there, but I do see Woods getting involved in some way as well, because he is after that Intercontinental Championship, or at least some sort of singles gold. And Woods and Gunther, like, we've done that. That was very one-sided. Doesn't need to happen again.
That's possible. I could see that. I could easily see Woods moving into something with Jay, because Jay is now got a singles title. So Woods, who has been part of a group who's seen his friends win singles titles, now might feel some type of way about Jay seeing him win a singles title, who's always been kind of part of a group. And you're like, oh man, even Jay is winning singles titles. Like we used to beat those guys all the time. Now he's winning singles titles. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. But you gotta get some heels. That's why I don't like turning Braun, to circle back to the original conversation. And they're doing a better job of boosting up some heels. Bronson Reed, they've done really good with him. I think he should beat Braun Strowman. I don't think there's any harm in that. If Bronson loses this last man standing match, I'll have complaints because I think that's dumb. But they're trying to make Bronson with starting in early August when he attacked Seth Rollins. They've done a good job there. And on SmackDown, and your top heels are Solo and Jacob. And people see Jacob on a level, but they see Solo on a lesser level. And then when you're feuding with Roman and Cody, everybody feels like on a lesser level.
I do wonder, when Seth comes back, that's going to add to things. He was elevated as a result of the story. He was also in a weird position because he was injured and trying to carry this as he limped into WrestleMania, but he is like number 3 of that story. Obviously, at one point, The Rock's going to come back, and then we're going to be right back up there again with Rock, and then it's Roman and Cody, and then it's going to be Seth. It's a weird alignment to have, but eventually SmackDown's going to, they're going to run into the same question of who's next. Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. They're not there, but they're definitely closest without going over. Yeah, it's strange. Did you know we hate each other?
We do. Can't stand you. Can't stand you.
I love it when people project shit on us as if you haven't stayed at my house, as if I wasn't at your wedding.
I was just gonna ignore it, but that's fine.
For the audio listeners, there's a dork in the chat saying that Jeremy hates me. And while
fair,
true,
I mean, I'm not going to deny that.
While accurate, he's so cold.
I'm just tired, man. I'm tired. All right.
You're talking to 2 dads. What do you want from my life?
Yeah, I'm not getting into my personal life, but I'm sorry if sometimes my energy is a little off and thing and whatnot. Okay,
I'm not worried about you and your responses. You're good. I prefer our conversation when there's a seriousness and some silliness to it, because guess what, we're pretty good at talking about this shit.
They have good problems on their hands though. You're talking about, The Rock's gonna come back. Where is he gonna fit in when Seth Rollins comes back? Like, these guys are gonna get big reactions when they come back. And they've done a very good job of slotting them in strong positions and making things underneath them also feel important. WWE's got a lot of over guys right now. They got a lot of stories that are connecting with people. And they've done a pretty good job of threading a lot of these stories together and making it make sense. Now, they've missed on some stuff. I just mentioned the Otis stuff. I don't know where the Wyatt 6 fit in. Yeah, they're doing QR codes again. There was a Lily doll behind who was it? I forget.
Who cares? Lily's coming back, baby. Put the big AR Lily back. Notice how the only person who gets the AR graphics is Cody. Nobody else does the AR. It's just Cody. Bring back Lily. Just Lily. No one else.
I would actually like a real life version of like Lily just running wild on people. That would be great.
And bring back Johnny Carson as the host of the Tonight Show. Sorry, that's a deep dig for anyone who's been following.
Is Johnny Carson alive?
He is so dead. Okay. But if you ask a presidential nominee, he'll think that he's still alive. Go ahead.
Lil is beyond living, Dom. Thank you, Alexa Bliss Gamer, who would, of course, have that information.
The source. God bless. Hey man, we love people of all types in this chat.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Alexa Bliss's return. I don't know if she's gonna be part of the Wyatt 6 stuff. I have no idea if she's gonna fit in there, but it would make some sense. Obviously, the history of Bray, even the history with Nikki, it would make some sense there. But Alexa's always been a strong character, whether she was the mean girl heel or doing the stuff with Bray. Like, she's always been a strong character. The Sparkle Princess stuff like didn't connect, but they were certainly trying something with that. And like that was early on Alexis, so
Yeah. But we need Lily back.
Dom leaves Liv for Lily. Oh, that's good.
There it is.
That's fantastic, actually.
The biggest missed opportunity in
Doll.
wrestling. You know how nobody cares about the women's tag team championships? I mean, the women's tag team champions. Come on, they've never been taken very seriously, except for like that one time. Lily and Alexa Bliss should have won them.
Well, they should have at some point. I actually agree with that because who cares? Yeah.
And it's such a great marketing tool. You sell the stupid Lily dolls. I told you at SummerSlam in 2021, those stupid Lily dolls, and I call them that because I love it. They sold out so quickly of those Lily dolls. And they every day I would go back, and every day they'd replenish the stock and be gone by mid-afternoon. You could have had a Lily doll with a women's tag team championship accessory that people would have purchased. It's a great marketing op. Listen, you've got these cars, you've got the lowriders, the ambulances, the breakaway cars. They show up, they sell these toys, they do well. You could have had the Lily doll with the little title match. It would have worked.
The skits that could happen would be amazing between Dom and Lily. The stuff that they could do with that would absolutely be amazing. They'll never do it, but it would be hilarious if they did.
It would be. God, it's just happening. Tom's backstage.
Oh, yeah.
Here comes the airplane.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, we're all out for more money here. That's what we're trying to push. Oh, God. Send Lily to TNA. That's the partnership. She goes to NXT first. Anyway.
Wendy Chu would see Lily.
Run away.
Yeah, Wendy Chu being scared of Lily would rule.
She's the ultimate, scare. What's the word? Oh, my God. She's the sleep paralysis demon.
Yeah.
Not Wendy Chu. Lily. You see Lily? Game over. Run away. Rosemary's like... She bows to Lily. She just bows down because she is like the deity of the dark realm. Those of you who watch TNA, you're welcome. That would be just perfect. That's all I want. Tatum Paxley and Lily. That's number 2. Lily and Chucky wedding. I'm surprised they didn't try for that crossover. They did live in Chucky.
Yeah.
Maybe Chucky didn't want to work with the doll.
Chucky refused to work with another doll.
Aggregate that one, okay?
That would be awesome.
Tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
Oh man. What is there anything else from Monday Night Raw? Going back to the White Six. Yes, thank you. The White Six is a very interesting kind of case study of will they or won't they? They started strong. They were brought in and did the big open and then the American Made story, and that's over. They've moved past it. Who's their next focus? Is it going to be Judgment Day because they were also a family and they're just kind of waiting until after the next PLE? Because, I mean, Priest and Balor is not a blow off. Rhea and Liv is probably not a blow off. Do the Wyatt Six need to interject to be a part of this? Like, where do they go next with the Wyatt plan? Because they got to do something eventually.
Who cares? Let's talk about Chucky and dolls he would refuse to work with. That's a way better discussion.
Here I am.
The Wyatt Six. Chucky goes into the Firefly Funhouse. Here, I'll tie things together. He goes into the Funhouse and just murders all the puppets and everything. Ramblin' Rabbit's already died a bunch of times anyway.
Well, no, he looks at Ramblin' Rabbit. He's like, oh no, I've seen this too many times. You're coming with me.
It's the gallows meme of like first time.
He's like, you're coming with me. I'm taking you with me. I'm recruiting you, Ramblin' Rabbit. They're working together.
But a much better discussion to talk about the dolls that Chucky would, just refuse to do business. Sees an Elmo. It's like, this little fucker over here. I'm going to tickle him with my knife.
Oh no! He just starts laughing.
They put the Chucky dolls on the shelf, and Chucky is just like, nope, you can't put me next to Elmo. I ain't doing business next to this guy.
Have you seen how much money Elmo makes? I can't deal with that.
Put Elmo on the other side over there. Get him next to the Barbies and everything. Chucky ain't dealing in the same business that Elmo is in. Chucky is Slayer. Elmo is Taylor Swift.
Well played. Thank you, Darby. I see how much engagement you got out of that. Good for you.
Because I'm tired of these engagement accounts. 2 seconds after I post the article on Fightful, they just steal the transcription. I get it's not really stolen, but they take the transcription and they post it themselves, and it's like, oh, they said like, great, yeah, give credit to them, but like, you didn't listen to this interview, you didn't transcribe these words, you didn't seek this stuff out. So yeah, I'm gonna start using it for myself and get those $2 from Elon. You're taking everything I ever worked for, Conor McGregor. I'm gonna fight your fucking ass. You want the real shit?
Wait, is Chucky taking on Conor McGregor? I've lost the plot here.
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
Chucky in a Booker T style fight, Austin and Build-A-Bear. Oh, that would rule. Chucky just going around slashing all the bears.
It would cost so much money.
This sounds fantastic.
What are we doing? What else would Chucky not want to work with in wrestling? Just trying to think of like what other like dolls or figurines like that would Chucky have said no to?
Chucky wouldn't work with anybody, man. Chucky was an asshole. He did have a bride though, right?
Yeah, she was literally Bride of Chucky.
Annie? Oh, Annie would be fucked. What if we did
Oh, Mr. Sacco.
Oh, Mr. Sacco. Good shout.
He just takes Mr. Sacco and starts wearing him. It's my
Yerples comes in there. Chucky's got to go after Yerples for bringing balloons. Just popping balloons. And let's see if we can get the balloons up here.
Come on, Nigel McGuinness. You got to do it the other way.
There we go. Okay. And then Chucky just goes around popping all of them.
Yeah, this would be awful. Listen, Halloween's around the corner, but they're not on USA anymore. So now Raw's gonna have to do. We might actually get the little.
Yeah, Raw and SmackDown are both on USA.
That's true. I was just thinking because NXT would be the one so character driven that they would do the crossover with Chucky, because I think Chucky was on Tuesdays too. Yeah. So like it ran into the show. Yeah. Now they got to do something different. I'm all about. Monday nights.
Destroy Gritty.
That's true. Chucky versus Grimace too. Yeah. We're bringing it way back, Louis. Thank you for this. Amazing. Good Lord. Matthew Justice joins us in about 20 minutes. Talk about
I forgot.
Could you imagine if we were in the middle of that and he walked in? He'd probably love it.
Apologies to Matthew Justice. I forgot we had a guest today. I was just rolling over here.
It's all right.
About Chucky killing people. We'll get Matthew Justice's thoughts on Chucky.
I mean, Matthew Justice is the perfect person to have this conversation with. The dude is hardcore deathmatch, approaching legendary status. Come on. Yeah, this is it. Chucky versus
Double J. What a politic off that would be. Are you kidding me?
It's just going to be two guys staring at the mic and being, that's going to work for me. Nope, can't do that, brother. I don't want to do that either. Yeah, no.
I need the My Way video for that one.
It'll be Chucky
just like Chucky politicking.
It's just Chucky staring at Double J being like, hey, how do you make chicken salad? And then Double J just being like, oh, you son of a bitch. Oh, God. Yeah, I need that. Chucky versus Matthew Justice versus Lily. Yeah, that's bringing it all the way back. Someone had mentioned maybe it's a Survivor Series, traditional Survivor Series match. It's wide 6 with Damian Priest taking on Judgment Day.
Yeah, I don't want Damian Priest involved in
maybe he paints his face like he's Punishment Martinez again.
No, that doesn't make any sense to put Damian Priest in that.
I get it.
Priest should be like, once he's done with Judgment Day, he should just be done. Why are we gonna extend this further? He's facing Balor. Maybe it gets extended a little bit after that because they do a bigger blow-off match than just a singles match. But Rhea, I feel like you got to do a Rhea and Dom match, like an actual match between them. But they don't need to go too long with this feud. Don't drag it out too long.
Yeah, I think 2 matches would be fine. Just 2 decisive wins for Priest? Or do you want to give Balor something and make it 3 matches? Maybe do one on Raw, one on a pay-per-view.
I think Balor might win at Bad Blood.
Yeah, with JD Bighead getting the assist.
Yeah, just multiple people kind of getting like just Judgment Day kind of in general coming out there and screwing over Priest. Could see it.
Would you go back to Drew?
Drew and
Drew?
No, like you're gonna continue the Balor and you're gonna continue Balor and Priest past Bad Blood.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking like, where does Drew go next?
Maybe Gunther.
I assume Punk is going to go after Gunther. He's basically made it his thing.
I think Punk is going to go with Rollins. Rollins is going to come back. He's going to face Bronson. And then we're going to go into Punk and Rollins.
So yes, and I think I laid this out with you a while ago. So you were going into October. We had to get all the way to April, and I still think that there is a world where it's Seth and Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, and in the interim, Gunther has to drop the title, presumably to Seth, and then I think we're doing. Yeah, Drew's just not part of that plan. I think Drew's just part of another thing. Punk going after Gunther. I don't think Punk wins. And then eventually Gunther drops it to Seth, maybe at the Rumble, and have Punk win the Rumble that year and just set it up for WrestleMania. That's the world title match.
Yeah.
Could be easy as that. Because right now we got the big blow off for Hell in a Cell. If Punk wins that, then that's pretty decisive. If he does, that's a pretty decisive win. And then
I don't know why is that the blow off?
For Punk and Drew? Yeah, let's do another one. Why not?
We got to do the triple cage, baby.
Scaffold match at Saturday night's main event.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, someone's got to break some limbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Seth and Punk is for a title. I think because that was where we were going before. That is where we were going pre-Mania 40.
It is, but like shit changes. Gunther's stepped up. Braun Breaker could continue to step up. You got to factor in old John Cena here as well, because he ain't going quietly this last year. They're going to do some stuff with him.
They are, but I'm still of the mindset that they can do Cena and Gunther at a WrestleMania and have a big match of some sorts with a big build for Gunther and Cena. Then that would not be for a title.
Yeah, that feels like a title match.
But John Cena comes in and always wants to work with the foreign heel flag match, and then Miro comes in at the end of WrestleMania, plants his flag, but it's not the Russian flag, it's not the Bulgarian flag. No, Jeremy Lambert, it is the flag of All Elite Miro. It's big.
No, Cena can't work with him. Cena can't work with him because Cena wasn't in AEW, so it doesn't make any sense.
True. But maybe he was in AEW. You just couldn't see him.
True. Yeah.
There was that time during all those episodes of Dynamite when Cena was promoting that TBS show that he was doing. The Wipeout. It was Wipeout. That was the show. Yeah. Remember?
Yeah.
I do love this All Elite Miro story. There's nothing better.
Joel's very attached to the All Elite Miro story. Well, we spent a lot of time booking Miro, so
we did. Listen, we got to get something out of that story, and this is what we're getting until he does something else. Maybe he can listen. If Miro comes back tonight for these Collision tapings and wins the TNT title, I'll drop All Elite Miro. Maybe All Elite Miro will become a AEW show instead. And if it does, I swear to God, I'm calling everyone I know at AEW, and I'm saying, who watches our show? And how much do we get paid for this? Also, can Jeremy get the White Danielson t-shirt?
Bryan Danielson watches our show. We already know this.
That's true. If he squashes Nigel McGuinness in a story that no one else has told from any other podcast platform that I listen to, people I do like.
I think that squash theory, as much as I like it, I think that squash theory went out the window when Hangman and Jarrett was on Collision, and they're limiting the matches for tonight.
There's like 20 matches announced for tonight. Like the graphic was hilarious today. They're not promoting the show as like Dynamite. They've got like a Like, this is amazing. I'm gonna pull it up. Hold on. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna download it, and I'm gonna put this up for everyone because like it's wild. If you haven't seen it, it's like everything is on one page. Here it is. It's just uploading now.
Okay.
There we go. Everything.
It's not. Okay, so the top half is what's on Dynamite. So Danielson and Nigel.
So it's everything up until Nana.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everything below.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4 matches on top of Bryan and Nigel.
5. Hook and Strong is now on Dynamite.
Yeah. That's 4. It's
no,
4 matches. 5.
No, Brian McGinnis.
I'm not counting Bryan and Nigel.
Okay. All right. If you're not.
Yeah, I'm not because I'm explaining why.
Okay. I see where you're going. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
So it's 4 matches on top of Bryan and Nigel. I don't think some of these matches are going that long. Like Mariah and Yuka ain't going to be this long match. I don't think Hook and Roddy is going to be this like long match. Now the tag team match can have some time. Moxley and Darby can have some time. But feels like Bryan and Nigel is going to get that time. And
this counts as our Dynamite preview, by the way.
Who interrupts Prince Nana?
Brian Cage. Stokely Hathaway with with Khan and
okay, well now we've gone off the deep end.
Well, no, I think there's a world where Stokely gets the 2 dudes from gets Svagny.
I don't think Stokely aligns with them.
No?
All right. No, I think he's got new people to align with.
Yeah, is he going to be he's going to be Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley's mouthpiece? No MVP.
MVP's coming in. MVP's coming in with them if they come in. I think Stokely's got new people. I don't know who they are. It might be like an established tag team. I just think that Stokely has new people that he's with. I don't think it's Khan and.
Are you suggesting that Stokely Hathaway is going to tell people to grit their teeth?
I'm not actually mad at that because it would do something like cool for grizzled young veterans, and it's a little unexpected. So I'm not actually mad at that idea. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I don't think it's a terrible idea either.
There's a lot going on tonight's show.
Oh yeah, there's that trios titles match that they're not really promoting because they're not sure if Yuta is going to like do business.
But wasn't the whole thing that it was Private Party and Commander against the trios tag team champions, and they just broke Isaiah Cassidy's hand? Or Isaiah Cassidy's hand.
Yes, but I think they're going to face somebody.
Don't know who. Top Flight, Action Andretti.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just looking at this thing, and listen, it's going to be a packed night for those who are there live. It's going to be a packed Dynamite. Everything that's Dynamite is up until the Nana, Swerve, and Hook and Strong match. Everything below that on this card is the Collision show.
Somebody's going to interrupt Nana. You know who would make some sense?
Who?
Jack Perry.
Double Jack Perry though, and then Swerve comes back for the open challenge, or what?
No, he's not coming back for the open challenge.
It's just he's just there. He just shows up.
Yeah, he does the open challenge. No, I don't think Swerve shows up at all. I think Jack Perry makes sense to interrupt Nana and go after Swerve, and I think this elevates Jack Perry as well because Swerve is seen as a top guy, rightfully. He is. Jack Perry makes sense because Swerve shunned the elite in the blood and guts stuff. There's a thread there between Swerve and the elite. And I think the elite still need some get back on this. There's a way to tie this back together from pre-blood and guts. I don't think they did a good job of that. I've talked about the elite stuff and how it felt like they dropped the ball on that. But it feels like you can do more with Swerve and the elite. And I think Jack Perry can be a guy that can put that together. Because they did what? They did Swerve and Okada, but that was a non-finish, right? They did a big schmoz ending. Nobody actually won. So there's a history there that I think you can play off of, and I think you can follow up on. And I think Jack Perry interrupting Nana to set that up. Yeah, it was a DQ, Swerve beat Okada. Jack Perry interrupting Nana to set that up makes some sense. And then, yeah, Jack Perry's on Collision. He faces nobody for the TNT title. He beats him. Let's say Action Andretti. He beats him. And then Jack Perry calls out Swerve Strickland on Collision. It's like, where's Swerve at? I was hoping Swerve would answer this challenge. I think there's a way to do this.
Okay. I could see it. I don't dislike the idea at all. And like you said, we should be pulling at these threads, even months later, just to give us something. I'm also looking at this Lucha 3-way, and I'm wondering, does Hologram drop his first match, or does Beast Mortos pin Dralistico? Or does
Hologram beats Dralistico?
Yeah, that's what we're doing, eh?
Yeah.
It's fine by me. Yeah. Listen, everyone beats each other. That's what we do. That's wrestling, right?
Sure.
Anyway. Listen, he's a little early, but if he's ready, he can give me a thumbs up and we can get right to it. This is my best part. That's not just a thumbs up. He's giving me the horns and everything.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, ahead of MLW Pit Fighters, it's a special that's going to be airing live on YouTube, be in sports as well. He's got a match, a Barrio Brawl, but we're excited to welcome now to the show, the one and only MLW's own Matthew Justice. Good morning.
Hey, how's it going, man? How you guys doing?
Hey, thanks for joining us, Matthew.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So the news is out that you have signed with MLW. Walk us through this decision and everything that it entails.
Absolutely. Court approached me recently with the offer to sign with MLW. And I've been there for 2 years now, basically killing it, doing everything I can for MLW. And the fact that he came to me and everything that he said to me, it's basically everything I've ever wanted to hear in wrestling from a promoter. So to have that actually happen, what more could I want than to have someone come to me and ask me to be a flag bearer for their company going forward for the next few years? And I'm more than excited to take that opportunity and run with it.
Most of what I've seen from you leading into your MLW work was a lot of like deathmatch style wrestling, some very hardcore wrestling. I've seen you live a couple times. I've got some questions for you about that. But how does that kind of style that you really brought into MLW, how does that kind of work for you and for MLW itself?
I like my own special brand of against the grain extreme violence. And I think that MLW has a great hybrid mix of all styles. And I think that the extreme hardcore element really just stands out in Major League Wrestling because of their history going all the way back to 2002 when everything kind of changed in the wrestling business. I think it's the perfect place to be extreme and take people back to that again. So
are you still able to take independent dates and everything while working with MLW?
Yeah, I'm still able to do a lot of the underground rock and roll wrestling stuff that I've been doing. So I'll still be popping up at a lot of different places. But just Major League Wrestling is my home. So,
okay. So where I kind of discovered you was through AIW and your very intense and long history with old Josh Bishop, who's been on the show before and who we've talked to a lot. Best wishes to him. I know he's injured right now, but talk to me about your feud with Bishop and just all the crazy things you guys have done, like going over balconies together.
Oh, my brother. AIW for the fucking brand, man. And shout out to AIW. Me and Bishop's rivalry in AIW, it's really like just a whole chapter of both of our careers and AIW history. We really have pushed each other far beyond the limits of anything known to man. I did DVD him off a balcony like 30 feet in the air, and neither one of us have ever given in. I don't know that either one of us will ever die. So it's probably a feud that's going to carry on forever. It's already made its way into other places like GCW and MLW over the years. So who knows where it's going to go next and what the heights are going to be then.
All right, forget the wrestling. I'm done with the wrestling. I want to ask, how many times have you seen Down live?
Oh man, I'm actually going to see Down tomorrow in New Mexico, so
Let's go.
But I've seen him so many times, dude, over the years, at least 10 times probably. So,
did you see them on the Heaven and Hell tour with Megadeth too?
No, in 2009.
Yeah.
No, I didn't, dude. I wish that's when they went to Australia, right?
I think so. So I saw them. So I live in Toronto. I got to see them in Ottawa, and that night, Heaven and Hell were the worst. They were the worst that night, and Down was the best, and they were on first. Like that's the kind of show they put on.
I've seen Heaven and Hell, just not with Down. I was fortunate to see Heaven and Hell once before Dio died. So, and I've seen Ozzy Sabbath as well, but.
I know Lifer, you come out to Lifer on the Indies. Can it be brought into MLW? Would it be brought into MLW? And B, other Down songs that you've maybe considered coming out to in the past?
Oh, man. Go on the Mississippi is such a great wrestling song because of the riff and just the way the song starts out. There's so many, all of Phil's music, dude. Even my music in MLW is pretty good, man. It sounds just like a Corrosion and Conformity song if you've ever been able to listen to it like up close.
We got to get Stained Glass Cross. That's the one we're going to get for you.
Down 2, man. That's the diary of my life, dude.
All right, Jeremy, it's all you again.
Okay, you have more musical questions? I'm way out of my element on this. This is not my music at all. You want to talk about Taylor Swift, Matthew Justice? That's up my alley.
I'm more of like I'd say I'm more of a Miley Cyrus guy than I am a Taylor Swift guy. No, I mean I'm not anti Taylor Swift. I don't want the Swifties against me, but you know.
Are you Slayer or Taylor Swift? That's the discussion.
Oh, I'm Slayer, man. I'm definitely Slayer.
See, I'm an
thoughts on Creed, guy. The greatest band of all time, Creed.
Hey, they hold a place in my heart from the '90s, just like Limp Bizkit and all the other bands like that.
There we go. See, I recognize that. Down, I don't know any of this stuff. Apologies.
Well, you know Pantera.
Allegedly.
So it's the lead
they walk. I hear they walk.
Yeah, exactly. Are you a big RVD fan over
That's
here?
all you know about them? Come on, man.
All I know of Pantera. You could probably play me a Pantera song and like, oh yeah, I kind of recognize that. But
have you ever heard it? Not to cut you off, but have you ever heard of the band Kilgore? No.
I probably have because my wife is into all of this stuff. She's actually messaging me of like, I got to get you to listen to Down, and I'm like, huh? I don't know about all of this. Have you ever heard the song "Creep" by Smashing Pumpkins?
Stop it.
No, but I've heard the song "Creep" by TLC, which is a classic banger. So.
It's a good song.
Good Lord. Do you play any instruments?
I played the drums when I was younger. I haven't been in a band in years or played in years, but I am a drummer.
That definitely
before I got my aggressions out in the ring, I did them on the skins, you know. So,
has there ever been anything you've been involved in? A lot of we'll say kind of death match style matches, maybe not necessarily a death match, but Chamber of Horrors matches, War Chamber, hardcore matches, things like that. What's the kind of the thing that you might stay away from, if anything? Gusset plates is a big thing. A lot of people say like, I don't know about gusset plates. Doing glass, maybe.
Glass is not my favorite thing to do. That's why I honestly haven't done too many full-blown death matches. I don't want to like take credit where it's not due. I have done death matches and things that people, perceive as that, but glass is definitely something that I'm not too into and that I try to stay away from. But really, I have vetted literally every extreme, crazy match concept and idea that you can think of. You said Chamber of Horrors. Last year at MLW Slaughterhouse, me and Mance Warner, the second-year crew, were in a Chamber of Horrors match. We electrocuted a guy, Ride the Lightning, and then I jumped off the top of the cage. So this year at Slaughterhouse, I'm just going to have to top it and see what I can do even more crazy than that.
So going back to death match and all that stuff, I saw you in a BJW style death match. Yeah,
Oh,
Toronto's-
with Greek Town Wrestling, dude.
that's right.
That
So
was in 2020, a week. That was like 6 days before or 4 days before the COVID lockdown, man.
yeah. So I was there. I went on the road with my band the next day, and we shut down the U.S. and had to come back. So
Oh,
weird story at that time. Now, in that match, you got dragged across a table, and you were already bloodied up. And on that table had a bunch.
that was RJ City's merch table.
It was all
if
of
I
our
re-
city's
if
merch.
I remember correctly.
Now, was there any heat between you two after that? Because I saw it. RJ was like, "What the fuck is this?" I gotta.
Man,
Was there some heat?
If I have heat with RJ City, I'm unaware of it. You know,
What about?
I probably asked him to sign the 8x10 that I bled on. You know,
that would probably work. And I remember seeing Daniel Garcia standing next to me at his table, eating his pre-fed meal, and just loving every minute of you two just beating the shit out of each other.
hey, sorry, can you guys hear my dog barking in the background?
That's all right.
Yes, completely fine.
Sandman, it's okay, dude. It's all right, bud. Sorry, his name's Sandman, so he's making a cameo appearance via audio.
Hey, you can bring him. You can bring Sandman up if you want. The chat.
Usually he sits next to me if I'm doing an interview. There's a chair next to me. Usually he sits right next to me, but not today. That show was crazy. That one, I remember there was a guy with a giant snake on it.
Yeah,
That's the one that you're just talking about.
And that particular show was also extra weird because they ran it at a venue they don't normally run. The venue that they would normally run was across the street, but it was double booked. So they ran
The Danforth Church, right? Because I wrestled at the church before in the basement and upstairs in the theater.
That's right. Yeah. So now they moved it over for that event. They moved it over to that random basement, and it was very much a basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very funny though.
Yeah, that's just more extreme, crazy stuff that I've done along my way to lead me here to MLW and everywhere else that I am right now. So I love to hear things like that. Just I'm glad they stick in other people's minds too.
Can we bury RJ City? Let's get some heat with RJ City.
No, I can't do that. I'm not a people spread too much negativity in wrestling as it is. I'm just here to spread the love and joy of professional wrestling. That's what brought me to it.
Okay,
And
you know, I respect and I appreciate that. I'm sorry for trying to cause some shit here. So let's say nice things about RJ City, because too many people do bury him like that.
Is he gonna say nice things about me in return? No, he's a wonderful host. He's a wonderful, wonderful, charming host.
There you go. RJ City, he watches this show, maybe. I don't know.
I hope not. Good lord.
Who you've been in the ring with a lot of guys who hit pretty hard, and you hit pretty hard yourself. Who's kind of hit you the hardest?
Jesus, Manders and Mance Warner. We teamed together for so long, and all the years teaming together, I forgot what it's like to fight those dudes. And over the last couple of months, I've gotten back in the ring with both of them, and it's like, oh my god, this is what it must be like to wrestle myself.
Now, are they? That's a I guess the thing of where like your friends are gonna hit you the hardest because they can take it and you can take it and like it's cool afterwards.
Iron sharpens iron, man.
Yeah. You did it. I do want to ask about this. Sorry, Joel.
Yeah,
you did a dog collar match with Mad Dog Conley, the king of the dog collar.
Paradigm Pro.
Yeah.
That's a gem, dude. Under the radar gem. I love that match.
So we had Mad Dog Conley on another show that I did. We talked to him last night, and we talked about his
I think him and Manners are in Germany about to have a dog collar match right now too.
Yeah, October 4th.
I knew it was coming up.
Yes, next weekend. But doing the dog collar match and working with Paradigm Pro. I know they do a lot of UWFI kind of rule stuff as well. Like, what was that just whole experience like?
All the things that Paradigm threw, the heavy hitters, Grand Prix. I think I fought Stephan Bonner at Paradigm twice in UWFI rules matches. I fought Tom Lawler, Dan Severn. So just like this who's who of UFC Hall of Famers, basically. And yeah, what a wild, for me at least, that more Japanese style or strong style wrestling is not necessarily my strong suit. It's something that I'm willing to fight in any style if you haven't noticed. But Paradigm definitely threw some wild ones at me over the years like that.
So I know that, you mentioned how you came to sign with MLW and Court approaching you in the conversations. Was there a moment for you when you were working in MLW when you just kind of said, oh, this clicks and I would like to see myself here?
Yeah, I felt like that for over the last year or so. Just everything MLW has given me, they just completely get me. They're not trying to force me into something or to be something for them. They see what I do best and they want to highlight that, and I love that.
You've got the match, and it airs on Thursday against Jesus Rodriguez in the Barbario Brawl. Hopefully, I said
Yeah,
that
that's
correctly.
tomorrow. The Pit Fighters special airs tomorrow night.
Yes. Tell us about this match. I believe it's already taped. It was taped on the last one, but what can fans kind of expect from this match?
It's like any other match I have, man. I'm gonna go as far possible as I can. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win. I'm gonna try to climb to the highest point of the venue and jump off of it if they let me. So you never know what to expect, really. So I definitely would tune into Pit Fighters. It gets pretty wild and crazy.
Well, before we let you go, we got a little game that we play on the channel. It's called Partner, Promo, or Punch in the Face. I'm going to give you 3 names from your past, and you're going to tell me which one you want to promo with in the ring one-on-one, which one you want to partner with in a tag team match, and which one you want to punch in the face, have a single match with. You ready?
All right. Yep.
We're going to take Mance Warner, Isaiah Browner, and Akira. Partner, promo, punch in the face.
All right. Partner. Man. My partner, I'm going to say Mance Warner, obviously, because he's my brother in second gear, even though he's turned to the dark side as of late. Promo with, I'd say Broner, because I'm avoiding getting hit by Broner because he's one of the hardest guys I've ever been hit by as well. And Akira, I just love beating the guy up, so I'll punch him in the face.
You know what? Sound logic. I get it.
I would love the promo with Manser because he's a fucking promo god. And Broner, I can team with him, but I can't turn my back on the second gear crew, So
Respect the loyalty.
Yeah.
Well, Matthew, we want to thank you for your time. MLW Pit Fighters is going to be on Thursday night, September 26th. That's tomorrow if you're watching us live. It's going to be on YouTube, beIN Sport. You've got a great match coming up with Jesus Rodriguez on this, along with a whole plethora of matches on the show. Before we let you go, is there anything else you would like to plug?
Also, MLW coming up. We're in Tampa Bay area for Slaughterhouse on October 4th. I'm challenging Bad Dude Tito for the MLW National Openweight Championship. So check that out. That's also free on YouTube that night, and tickets are available as well on MLW.com. And as far as social media, my Twitter or whatever it's called and Instagram are at Thrash Justice. So
the one and only Matthew Justice. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, guys. Buy the ticket and take the ride with me, Matthew Justice, in Major League Wrestling for the next couple of years, guys.
Amen.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Matthew. Oh, we did it again. Every time. I never know who to. I'm gonna pop you off the screen this time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There we go. The one and only Matthew Justice. New MLW signee. Congratulations to him. Looking forward to seeing more and more of him on my screen in MLW. This was a lot of fun. Dude rules. Thanks again to him.
It's fantastic. Bishop's been on our show a lot, and Bishop always talks about him and puts him over and talks about the wars that they have gone through. I think it's Matthew's pinned tweet, if I recall. It's one of their pinned tweets, the balcony that they go over. And Bishop's talked to us about it. John Thorne has talked to us about it as well, of just how I don't know what they were going to do when they were going up there. And I don't know if we really signed off on this, but they went for it and they did it. And they're forever linked through that and all their other wars that they've had over the years.
he's still here watching us. Is he waiting for us to talk about him burying RJ City or not? Because we'll do it. Oh, he rules. We appreciate it. He's a great time chatting with Matthew Justice. I was wondering if he wanted to pop back in because I would have brought him in for more chats. Because come on, he's very easygoing, very cool dude. I've been a fan of his, and obviously your wife also a fan of his because of the music. The best.
I'm surprised he has not heard "Creep" by Smashing Pumpkins.
You suck. I got to see this Barrio Brawl because whenever he does anything in the hardcore realm, it goes pretty hard. I'm looking forward to that. Good stuff. We should probably talk about the thumbnail. We got a few minutes. We got about 20 minutes left. The Vince McMahon Mr. McMahon Netflix series dropped this morning. There were some reviews that came out before the doc dropped from people who got to see it before the official release, and the reviews weren't exactly glowing on the matter. The general consensus was if you're a hardcore fan or you've been following a lot of the stuff that's been out there before about Vince and his narrative and the way that, WWE came to be under his power, you're not going to really learn anything new. And that all the stuff about the Janelle Grant lawsuits is in there in the last maybe 30 minutes of the 6th episode. So some of the stuff we're going by just by written review, some of the stuff we're going by as we watch through it. I just want your general thoughts as you've started watching it. The people are starting to feel a certain way as the reviews come in about the McMahon doc.
So I'm 3 episodes in. I watched all 3 of the first episodes this morning before the show, so I can give full context on the first 3 episodes. Everything else, it would be I've seen clips, I've read reviews, I've read quotes, and I don't want to fully speak on that because I don't have the full context of that stuff. Here's what I'll say about the first 3 episodes. If you know the history of Vince McMahon, you're not going to learn a whole lot. Seeing the footage is cool. Hearing from different people is cool. I just kind of like documentaries in general because I do think you can learn stuff from them, especially if you don't know a lot about it. And I'm sure that there are some, I don't want to say non-wrestling fans, but some wrestling fans who don't do deep dives into everything, and they will learn plenty in this documentary. For someone like me who has seen other wrestling documentaries, who has followed wrestling, who has read a lot about wrestling and kind of knows a lot of this stuff already, there's not a whole lot to be gained from the first 3 episodes. Now we'll see moving forward what it kind of brings, but the first 3 is like, okay, he purchased the company from his father. He decided to take it global, and people were upset about him stepping on territories. Hulkamania, WrestleMania 3, Montreal Screwjob, WCW coming to fruition, things like that. There's not a whole lot there if you don't already know these things. You get some good quotes. I mean, he flat out denied the rape allegations from Rita Charterton. He denied that, and he had the very curious line of like, if I did rape her, well, the statute of limitations was up. It's like, all right, sure. He does say that, some things, what I say and what I mean are 2 different things. He's basically playing mental warfare with what he says because he just wants to throw it out there to get reactions. But he doesn't actually mean those kind of things. That was in the context of he was talking about WCW and taking shots at Ted Turner where, Vince can do that and he thinks it's fine. But if anybody tries to come at Vince, oh, you can't do that. You can't come and take shots at me, but it's cool if I take shots at you. And that was where he said, like, sometimes I just say things and I don't really mean it. It's kind of mental warfare type of thing. Oh, there's some quotes out there. There's some interesting things that maybe people are definitely going to pick and choose what they want to hear and what they want to run and maybe not provide context to everything. But for the first 3 episodes, I can give full context with that stuff.
So having watched the first few episodes, there was the news that dropped through, I believe it was Puck, and other websites have followed suit, that Vince tried to buy back the documentary at one point.
Yeah.
Is there anything at this point that has been so salacious or just worthy of being bought back? Or was it just more like he didn't stand by it, or he was already in up Schitt's Creek and maybe they knew something was going on? Like what's the general feeling? Because this buyback was before the allegations, before the lawsuit was issued. I think a lot of people were kind of lost in that fact.
Through 3 episodes, again, there's nothing in there that I'm like, oh, this paints Vince in a bad light. But I guess I'll contextualize that, or I guess I don't know if it's preface because I already said it, but I'll add that like I don't think Vince is a great person anyway. So I'm hearing these stories and I'm like, yeah, that kind of checks out. Sure, the stuff with Rita Chatterton, that part, his comments there weren't great. There is Tony Atlas accusing Pat Patterson of grabbing him inappropriately. They do touch on the Ring Boy scandal a little bit. I was actually a little disappointed that that's a story I know. I've listened to, again, commentary on it. I've listened to I apologize for getting his brother's names, but Tom Phillips' brother, his name, talking about everything that went into that, and people who have come forward anonymously talking about that. Like I've listened to these interviews and covered them, so I know some background on it. I would have liked Vince pressed more on that, because Vince doesn't really give any comment on that. It's very skimmed over on it. Tony Atlas is the person who kind of makes the allegations, and then that's really it. Phil Mushnick, the journalist, he comments on it and talks about his reporting on it, but Vince is not asked at all about it. And if he was asked, he didn't say anything, and they didn't use that footage, but there was no indication really of that. I was hoping when they got to that part there, we did get something out of Vince, and we got nothing out of Vince on those allegations.
It feels like for a lot of the Vince interview footage, it would just kind of like, I have to do it, so I'm here and I'm doing it. He
does say basically to start the documentary of like, oh, there's some stories I can tell you, and then he's like, okay, well, tell us. He's like, no, I'm not going to tell you those stories.
So he just honey dicks his way through this whole thing.
That, again, the stuff that he says, I feel like I've heard it before, because it's not like Vince is a private person. And now, yes, but we're talking like right now, everything that's being covered is all the way up through the Montreal Screwjob. Again, what I've seen, it's through the Montreal Screwjob. There's been so many documentaries released about all the period before the Montreal Screwjob that Vince talks plenty about. Vince, stopped doing interviews and whatnot later on. He didn't do as much, but you go back and watch those old WWE documentaries, those old WWE VHSs and things like that. Vince is all over these things talking about them. And yeah, some of it might be Mr. McMahon character, but certainly when it comes to the creation of WrestleMania, the creation of Hulkamania, WCW, Montreal Screwjob, like he's talking about that pretty openly about his role and all that. And you're getting much of the same with this.
It sounds like a lot of the presentation as well is, at what point does the Mr. McMahon character and the Vince McMahon person kind of align or become one another?
So that obviously happens on television after the Montreal Screwjob. So I imagine I'll get more of that in episode 4 and moving forward. I've seen the quotes about obviously like the Benoit stuff and CTE and everything. I can't speak to those besides of what I've just read online, because I have not seen anything past episode 3.
Yeah, there's some stuff about CTE in there that needs to be examined. There's stuff about the Undertaker and the streak and Vince's general feelings about whether,
which is a weird comment to make when the Undertaker is literally saying yeah, I got a concussion and I don't remember any of it. And then Vince trying to dismiss that is.
I don't think Vince knew that that Mark had said this. I don't think Vince is aware of some of the things that wrestlers have said over the years. He's very much in his bubble. You said, you make reference to the point that Vince used to be a very public person, but he wasn't. I think Vince McMahon was very manicured publicly. I think that there were many people who were kind of navigating how public of a role he had, what was safe, what wasn't. And of course, some stories got out, but very quickly were a lot of them squashed by Vince or his team. You've got, Bruce Pritchard basically in this documentary being like, nah, he's not such a bad guy. And of course, 2 days later, after the filming, the lawsuit drops, blah, blah, blah. But like, there's just a lot of, again, I think when people watch it, if they decide to, they're going to see that this thing gets a really weird, this documentary series gets really weird because the filming stops, the interviews stop, the lawsuit comes out, and then Vince cancels the rest of his interviews. That's the way they play it out in the documentary. And no one else is really going to talk at that point, other than Dave Meltzer. Does Mushnick speak? There are a bunch of people who were involved with the breaking of the news of the case. And of course, at that point, can't really expect any of these people to speak because this is an investigation. There's an investigation. This is a lawsuit. This is a big deal. And this is before it turns into a federal case. So I understand that everything kind of shut down and they tried their best to tell the story in the 6th episode, but it feels like they were kind of stuck with the situation they were dealt. And again, we'll find out, as Jeremy will, when he actually watches it.
I plan on finishing it today. I'm going to just get through the whole thing. We'll talk more about it on Spotlight tomorrow. I know Jensen's already kind of selected that as his topic, so he plans on watching it as well. So we'll have a lot more to say on Spotlight tomorrow once I've finished the whole thing, and Jensen will have seen it as well. Yeah, when it comes to, like, this thing was announced. You got to remember, this thing was announced in 2019 is when it was supposed to come out, or at least when it was announced, and they thought it was going to come out in 2020. Pandemic happened. A lot of stuff happened. Obviously, yeah, like
it got pulled. It got put back on the table.
Yeah.
And here it is. It's been released. Clearly, it's very disjointed because of the circumstances of a lawsuit, which again, I understand. I'm curious going into it when I watch the full thing, kind of get the full scope. But again, from every review has been the same. If you are people like us who have paid attention to all this stuff, who have watched all these stories or heard all these stories, nothing is really going to shock you. Some things may even enrage you because you know differently. And yeah, like you said, there isn't much pressing from the producers to Vince, or at least that airs, about certain things that Vince may say that people either take offense to, or people know that other people have said differently to what Vince is saying. And that's kind of a general frustration that I've been reading about as everyone's watched this documentary.
Yeah.
Yep. You guys will talk about it tomorrow on the Spotlight. That's going to be here on Fightful Overbooked. So go ahead, get ready for that tomorrow morning, or of course on any platform of podcasting that you listen to. I mean, we've talked a lot about Grand Slam. We've talked a lot about it. Should we do a proper preview and expectation, or have we kind of gone there? Feels like we kind of hit that.
I think we've largely talked about Grand Slam. People are going to be mad if we keep talking about AEW and burying everything that's happening in AEW.
Well, that's why Braun Breaker lost last night, because he's buried and he's never going to come back from this. Oh man, I'm looking forward to Grand Slam tonight. I think the matches are going to be a lot of fun. I think that as always, when you have these big matches, there is opportunity for more threads, more storytelling, more building of characters. And I think that's what you and I come back to often, is that when we see those builds, we get excited for those builds. I just hope they continue to give us reason to get excited as Wrestle Dream comes around the corner in a couple of weeks. I think that card's now got to start building. But again, we got this show, then we've got 5th year anniversary, and then it's going to be Title Tuesday, and then it's going to be Wrestle Dream. So it's tough, but we'll see what they put on the television this year. We'll see who Jack Perry's opponent will be on Saturday. Anything else from this last few days that we need to get into?
I don't think so.
We can probably get out of here a little early today. Go enjoy the cloudy weather. It's not sunny today. Oh my God. Anything to plug?
Never.
Let's all go take a nap. How about that? Go enjoy that. Go enjoy AEW Grand Slam. Thank you to Matthew Justice for joining us. Jeremy and I are back on Friday, but Jeremy will be back with Steven Jensen tomorrow on the Spotlights. Go check that out. If you haven't already, leave a thumbs up and, of course, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you all. For Jeremy Lambert, I'm Actual Pearl, JOELPEARL. Ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one.